The civic issue I'm going to be discussing today is body image, negative body image to be exact. Now, you may be wondering, what is body image? Well, it can be described as a subjective picture or mental image of one's body. It's how you feel about yourself when you look in the mirror or when you picture yourself in your mind. It's basically how you feel about your body, which consists of height, weight, and shape. But the thing about today's society is that many people all over the world have a negative view of themselves, and they pick out their flaws instead of their strengths. This has had a major impact on millions of people all over the world, and is becoming a worldwide problem with severe consequences. In a society that promotes unrealistic body ideals, it's challenging not to get caught up in comparing oneself to these unrealistic standards. As a result, individuals may experience feelings of anger, anxiety, and self-loathing, which is very common and quite unfortunate. In addition to affecting an individual's poor view of self, body image may also result in avoidance of social situations, and it may interfere with healthy relationships. You begin to avoid social situations, you avoid your friends, any romantic relationships you might have had. I understand this, and then I decided I want to further enhance my understanding just how much body image can affect oneself. So I went and I researched, and I found 3 facts that really captured my interest, and I'd like to share them with you. First of all, did you know that 75% of girls with a poor opinion of themselves are reported engaging in negative activities such as cutting, bullying, drinking, smoking, and developing eating disorders? That's an awful lot when you put it into perspective. We live in a society where if you don't live up to media's image, you're deemed flawed. Studies have shown that the more reality television a young girl watches and the more beauty magazines she flips through, the more likely she is to find appearance important, and the more likely she is to find hers flawed. But that's something many people don't understand. The things you see in these magazines and these movies often aren't even real. Those girls might not even look like that themselves. They could have been photoshopped, airbrushed, edited, anything to cover the small imperfections they're hiding. That's something many people don't understand. The average size of the idealized woman, as portrayed by models, has stabilized to 13 to 19% below healthy weight. The thin ideal is unachievable for most women and leaves them feeling helpless and causes depression. But this is exactly why these females resort to these negative alternatives that help them cope with their negative perception of themselves. Secondly, I found that 1 in every 4 college-aged women has an eating disorder. The most common ones are anorexia and bulimia. Anorexia is an eating disorder that causes you to obsess about your weight and the food you eat. People with anorexia attempt to maintain a weight that's far below healthy for their age and for their height. To prevent weight gain or to continue losing weight, people with anorexia often starve themselves or exercise excessively. Bulimics, on the other hand, they can be very hard to identify as they're usually of a normal weight and shape. They eat large quantities of food in a short period of time and then attempt to compensate for it by purging. Purging can take the form of self-induced vomiting, use of laxatives, diuretics, enemas, diet pills, or fasting and excessive exercise. Anorexia can be harmful. It's more dangerous than bulimia, and this is because it can affect your body organs. It can even cause them to shut down, and if it goes on too far, you could even die. They usually damage your heart, your kidney, your digestion, your muscles, your bones, and if you're a female, your ovaries. Yeah, if any of these goes too far, you could die. It's a serious matter, and when you think back to the numbers, 1 in 4 females around the age of college-aged women have this disorder, and they're harming themselves in such a way. Negative body image is destroying our youth. So many women have such strong potential, but they lose it while losing themselves. The last fact I came across stated that the weight loss industry brings in at least $55.4 billion in revenue per year. I expected to find a large number, of course, but not to that degree. This was statistically published in 2006 and further updated in 2010. Now imagine the progress it's made since then. There is a substantial market for products that promise to be easier, to be more reliable, cheaper, and less painful. These include books, DVDs, CDs, pills, body wraps, fitness centers, fitness groups, personal coaches, food products and supplements, and many more things you can't even begin to imagine. So many waste a high percentage of their income on things they think will solve their problem, but they usually end up disappointed. Now, if the media didn't advertise these figures who are supposedly ideal, people would actually possibly be okay with themselves and wouldn't go out and spend hundreds of dollars on things that they think will fix themselves. Now, in my opinion, I honestly do believe that media does have a really large impact on how people see themselves. I believe if media didn't try so heavily to influence their audience, people wouldn't have such negative images of themselves and they might actually be okay with who they are. But the thing that also bothers me, that little girls from maybe the age of 5 to 6 are influenced by body image as well. Maybe not through media possibly, but through their toys. Barbie, for example. She is the most unrealistic body figure that any girl could ever have. I mean, if she was a real female, studies have even shown that if she was a real female, she wouldn't be able to stand upright. Her body proportions are really inaccurate and she wouldn't even be able to fit her organs inside of her body. It's so false, and yet this is what our little girls look up to. She wouldn't be able to support her own weight, but Barbie is basically what little girls strive to look for these days. Does any of this sound familiar? My thighs touch. My stomach protrudes. My arms jiggle. If only my legs were skinnier, I'd be happy. I understand where these girls are coming from with these feelings towards themselves, and when they look into the mirror, they want to have a breakdown, because I've experienced such feelings too, and I can relate to what they're going through. And yes, all because of what I've seen on the media. It's hard to overcome a negative body image, especially when it's more acceptable to have a negative body image in today's society than to love yourself. But I believe it is possible to overcome a negative body image, and that is to have a positive attitude, to ignore what media is putting out, and to accept who you are. And if you already have that idea in your mind, you could possibly even get treatment, and that could fix your perception of beauty, basically. Thank you.